엄마 허리에 놀이기를 하셨어요. 네, 멋집니다. 자, 이제 오른쪽을 봐주시기 바랍니다.
First, the right side, please. Cameras on your right.
정면을 봐주시고요.
Straight ahead, center of the room, please. Center cameras.
그리고 왼쪽을 봐주시기 바랍니다.
And now the left side, please.
너무
Left side.
멋있네요. 예. 김포공항 도착부터 하트를 해주셨는데 역시 지금 오늘도
All right,
하트.
giving us the heart. Thank you. Oh, yes, you can stay in the center.
네, 다음에 하트를 한번 만들어
Can
볼까요?
we get a heart from you for the cameras? A heart? Thank you.
Right side, please.
Hold the pose for the right side.
And left side.
And finally, the left side cameras.
네, thank you. 그리고
Thank you.
저쪽으로.
You can leave the stage that way.
Yes, right. 런웨이가 됐습니다.
You're giving us a runway walk.
It's a
Thank you
runway.
so much, Charlie.
네, thank you.
Yes.
10년 만에 뵙습니다. 네,
Back in Korea in
반갑습니다.
10 years. Welcome.
오른쪽을 봐주시죠.
Let's start with the right side cameras.
다음은 중앙.
Center, please. Straight ahead. Center of the room.
왼쪽을 봐주시기 바랍니다.
And the cameras on your left, please. Left side.
자, 야구장에서 하트를 하셨던데, 역시.
We didn't even have to ask for the heart. Thank you.
This is K-Heart. 예. 맷 데이먼이 지금 다양하게 보고 계십니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you so much, Matt. We'll have
Thank
you
you.
off the stage and invite you back shortly. Director Christopher Nolan of the Odyssey to the stage.
감사합니다. 먼저 오른쪽을 봐주시죠.
Start with the cameras on your right side, please.
정면을 봐주시고요.
Straight ahead, center of the room.
왼쪽을 봐주십시오.
And your left side.
손인사도 좀 부탁드릴까요?
Could we get a wave from you, Director Nolan? Just a hand wave?
Thank you. Thank you. 네, 놀란 감독님. 놀란 감독님 자리로 모셔서 반갑습니다. 네. 자, 두 분 함께 오른쪽부터 봐주시죠.
Can we start with the cameras on your right side, please? Together, right side. Thank you.
정면을 봐주시고요.
Now straight ahead, center of the room.
왼쪽을 봐주시기 바랍니다.
Now your left side, please.
자, 그리고 크리스토퍼 놀란 감독님을 모셔볼까요?
We are now going to invite Chris to join you for a group photo.
You can stay. Yes, right.
Yes, a group photo with the three of you. All right, we'll begin with the right side, please. Now center of the room, straight ahead. And finally, the left side together, please. Left side cameras. Could we get a wave from the three of you? Just a wave at the cameras. Thank you.
자, 엠마 토마스 프로듀서님을
And for the
모셔볼까요?
final group photo, please welcome back Emma Thomas, producer.
와우, 너무 반갑습니다. Welcome to Korea. 네. 자, 우리 크리스토퍼 놀란 감독님부터 인사 부탁드릴까요?
Right. First of all, welcome to Korea. Thank you for joining us. Beginning with you, Chris, would you like to go ahead and say hello to everyone here today?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's an honor to be here in Korea. Something I've wanted to do for a very long time, but this is my first trip here. So thank you all for being here.
너무 보고 싶었어요, 정말. 그리고 맷 데이먼.
Matt?
Hello, everyone. I'm very, very happy to be back here. I can't believe it's been 10 years since the last time. We talked about on set when we were making the movie places we wanted to go, and this was the top of the list. So it's very exciting to finally be here and be here with this movie. Thanks.
샤를리즈 테런?
Yes, I feel very spoiled. I was here just a couple of months ago, just for vacation with my daughter because we all really love the culture here and spending time with friends here. So it's very nice to be able to take advantage of that again, coming here with this incredible movie. So thank you so much for having us.
네, 김밥을 마시는 모습이 굉장히 인상적이었어요. 자, 이번엔 엠마.
Emma?
Thank you so much for welcoming us to Korea. I have never been here, but always wanted to come, and it's an honor to get to present everybody's hard work to such a movie-going and loving culture. And thank you so much for welcoming us so well.
자, 지금 엠마 토마스 프로듀서님은 지금 한국의 전통 놀이개를 허리에 착용을 하고 오셨는데 좀 여쭤볼게요. 어떻게 착용하게 되셨는지.
And Emma, we loved seeing that beautiful norige on your waist. We want to hear a little bit about it. How did that happen?
We had a wonderful dinner last night, and the wonderful people at Universal in Korea gave me this gift, and I thought it was absolutely the most beautiful thing because it speaks to the themes of the movie with an anchor there, but I gather that it's a Korean tradition, so I was very, very honored to be given this gift and to be able to wear it.
네, 저희도 영광입니다. 자, 진짜 우리 이제 기자님들의 질의응답을 받아야 되는데 질문을 받기 전에 한국에 이틀 전에 오셔서 각자의 또 시간을 보내셨어요. 야구장도 가시고 익선동도 가시고 그리고 손정원 셰프의 이타닉 가든도 가셔서 식사도 하셨는데 어떻게 보내셨는지 무엇이 가장 인상적이었는지 우리 감독님부터 여쭤볼까요?
How you all spent your time during the past half day or 2 days that you've been here. I know that, we saw you at a baseball game. We saw you go to Itanic Garden, which is a very well-loved restaurant here in Korea. And you walked around the streets as well. So, Chris, from you, can we hear a little bit about how you enjoyed the past couple of days?
Well, we actually did get a little bit of time off, so I was able to walk around the city along the river, which was very, very beautiful. It's very hot here, but there are so many different places to keep cool. And then I had the pleasure of trying the salt bread, which is extraordinary and absolutely wonderful. And spoke to people who seemed very, very friendly, very welcoming here. It seems like a really marvelous city, and I'm very glad to have spent some time here.
감사합니다. 맷 데이먼은 야구장에 가셨더라고요. 네.
How about you, Matt? Did you enjoy the game?
I did. My children met me here, so they were a little jet lagged. So we didn't make it to the end of the game, unfortunately. But we got to go for quite a bit, which was a great experience. And then yesterday we got up and went on a tour and got to see quite a bit of the city, which was wonderful to have a full day off and be able to explore.
And how about you, Charlize? I mean, you're quite familiar with Korea, so how's the couple days have been?
It's been amazing. I got to spend a little bit of time with some friends that I made here last time. And then I ate lots of Korean food. And then I might have dabbled in some skincare.
오늘 그래서 빛이 나요.
No wonder you look even more beautiful today.
It's because of you guys, so thank you.
자, 엠마는 한국 첫 방문이신 걸로 알고 있는데 어떻게 보내셨어요?
And Emma, you shared a little bit, but this is your very first visit to Korea. What was your first impression?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, so as Chris said, we walked along the river that had been buried by the freeway, I understand. And I was so blown away by the nature that we saw there. We saw birds and we saw people wading to keep cool. And I just thought it was fantastic. And then I dragged Chris into Olive Young, which I think he got a little tired of, but I was having a great time. And then, our son, his girlfriend is Korean American, and she gave us a long list of things that we should do, including salt bread. And it's been wonderful. We've packed as much in as we possibly can.
만끽하셨군요. 너무 좋습니다. 자, 이렇게 보내시고 이제 영화에 대한 질의응답을 한번 시작해 보도록 하겠습니다. 지금부터 우리 질문 있으신 기자님들 손을 들어주시면 저희 진행해 주시는 스태프분께서 마이크를 가장 먼저 들어주신 기자님께
한국에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 네, 영화 너무 잘 봤고요. 일단 간단히 말씀해 주셨는데 일단 크리스토퍼 놀란 감독님과 엠마 토마스 프로듀서 샤를리즈 테론 배우는 이번이 공식적인 첫 한국 방문이신데요. 이렇게 영화 오디세이로 공식 내한하게 된 소감을 좀 부탁드립니다. 특히 감독님께서는 오래전부터 한국에 내한하고 싶다는 말을 많이 하셨다고 들었는데요. 감독님께 한국 관객과 한국 영화, 한국 시장은 어떤 의미인지도 말씀 부탁드립니다. 그리고 맷 데이먼 배우는 10년 만에 다시 한국에 오셨는데요. 10년 만에 다시 찾은 한국이 좀 어떻게 다른지 소감이 궁금하고요. 어제 오시자마자 야구장에 간 이유는 무엇인지도 부탁드립니다.
So first of all, welcome all four of you, and I have to say I greatly enjoyed the film. For Chris, Emma, and Charlize, this is your first official visit to Korea or public visit to Korea, and then Matt, it's been 10 years since you were here. I'm sure all of you are feeling different things, so we'd love to hear how it feels to be here with this film in Korea for the first time, and also especially for you, Chris, we've heard that you have wanted to visit Korea for quite some time, so how does it feel to finally make that trip? We'd also love to hear, Matt, it's been 10 years since you were here, so do you feel like Korea has changed at all? And I'd also love to ask you, why did you want to go to a baseball game, out of all things?
자, 크리스토퍼 감독님부터.
Can we start with you, Chris?
Yeah, it's something I've wanted to do for a long time is come to Korea with one of my films. I think really starting from when we released Interstellar, and we started to learn that Korean audiences have responded very, very well to that film. And when we were seeing how long it played in cinemas and how many people went to see it, it was very, very exciting. And it's a strange thing to have made a film and have people in another part of the world that you've never been to and you don't have an idea of or an impression of because you haven't been there yourself. But to know that audiences there are responding to your film, that's very exciting. But it really makes you want to go with the film and see what people think and sit in a room with people who are just watching it. And for various reasons, it hasn't been possible up until now. We were going to come with Tenet, and then COVID happened, so that wasn't possible. And so now with the Odyssey, we're getting to enjoy it with Korean audiences for the first time. I'm very, very excited to hear what people think.
샤를리즈 테론은 작년 왔을 때랑 달랐을 것 같아요.
And Charlize, does it feel different to be visiting with a film versus when you're here on vacation?
마지막에 우리 맷 데이먼은 마지막에 대답.
We're going to ask Matt for his answer lastly, so yes.
Oh, yeah. A little bit. Yes, for sure. I did a lot more walking with my 10-year-old daughter when we were here. We would just kind of get dressed in the morning, have breakfast, and then just walk all day. And I think that's a little harder when you come here with a movie of this size because we're a little bit more in the public eye. But I feel the incredible thing, I was talking to a friend of mine when we landed here, there's something just this really big energy switch when you land in Korea. It's really, you guys have a beautiful place and your culture is just so rich and you just feel it. You feel it from the moment that you walk out of the airport and when you have that first meal. And so in many ways it's the same, but it's a little different. I'm just very happy to be here again.
자, 엠마의 소감도 들어볼까요?
Emma, would you like to answer that as well?
About bringing
How
the
it
film.
feels to be here in Korea with the film, yes.
Well, one of the things that I love about films in general, I think cinema, is the fact that it unites people. And I think there's something really wonderful that really kind of feeds my soul, I think, and sort of makes me feel very good about what it is that we do when we bring a film to different countries, to different cultures, and present our work in a way that I think I think it shows you that there's more that unites us than divides us. And I think that the story of the Odyssey is very much a story about sort of, a human being and the things that matter to us as human beings. And I think that is something that is common to me as an English person who lives in America. It's common to people in Korea, it's common to people in France, in India. I'm just thinking about all the places that we've been with this film, and that's I think something very special about cinema in general, and so it's very exciting to be here with a film.
자, 맥 데이먼 야구장 간 이유를 물어보셨죠?
And Matt, how you feel with the film, and also, please, why you went to the baseball game.
Well, coincidentally, I have a friend who's a baseball agent, and one of his players plays for the Heroes. And so he called and said they're playing the night you arrive, if you can get there from the airport. So it just seemed like a wonderful opportunity, and I've always heard about baseball in Korea and how I have to see it. And it was such a wonderful experience because the cheering sections for the two teams, that doesn't happen in America. And it was so exciting for us to see the energy that the fans brought and how involved and invested they were. And it was a completely different way to watch a baseball game. So the same sport, but it was received a different way and celebrated a different way. And that was very, very fun. And I'm glad I got a chance to see that for sure.
한국 야구 응원에 푹 빠지셨군요. 네, 같은 또 선수 이름이 마침 매시였더라고요. 자, 또 질문 있으신 기자님.
안녕하세요. 저는 오센 김나영 기자입니다.
반갑습니다.
네, 저는 배우분들께 질문이 있는데요. 일단 두 배우님께서는 정말 현 시대 최고의 감독 중 하나인 크리스토퍼 놀란 감독과 함께 작업을 하시게 되셨는데요. 또 맷 데이먼 배우님은 감독님과 세 번째의 협업 중에 이번에 또 첫 주연을 또 맡게 되셔가지고 캐스팅 제안을 또 처음 받았을 때 어떤 기분이셨는지 궁금하고요. 또 샤를리즈 테론 배우님께서는 이번이 놀란 감독님과 첫 작업이었는데 놀란 감독님의 현장에서만 경험할 수 있었던 뭔가 특별한 순간이 있었다면 말씀 부탁드립니다.
I have a question for the cast, Matt and Charlize. So you have worked with one of the greatest living directors of all time, a defining filmmaker of our time, Christopher Nolan. And Matt, this is your third film working with him, your first lead on a Chris Nolan film. How did that feel to know that you were going to be playing Odysseus? We'd love to hear about that. And to you, Charlize, this was your first time working with Chris Nolan. Could you share with us a special moment on set that you thought this is only possible on a Christopher Nolan set? Would you like to start us off, Matt?
Sure. From the moment Chris called me and told me that I had this job, I expected it to be the greatest experience and opportunity of my career, and I expected that because I'd worked with him 2 times before in smaller roles, but I really did understand his process and how he worked, and I absolutely love it. And I knew that this would be similar in the approach, just a lot harder and a lot more work. And it was everything that I wanted it to be, particularly because it was such an ambitious idea, and how he wanted to do it, shoot it all in IMAX, had never been attempted. And I just knew what that would require of the hundreds of people who would be there working with us every day. I've never seen a group pushed as hard as we had to push to make this happen. And I've also never been on a film set where I was entirely sure that every single person there was exactly where they wanted to be. And it was just a remarkable feeling to work that hard with a group of people who were also working that hard, but we're doing something that had never been done, and making movies, which is what they'd all given their lives to. And it was just an extraordinary feeling and experience, and it was joyful just precisely because it was so hard. It was in that respect, in comprehensively speaking, just the greatest experience I could have asked for.
Thank you. Charlize?
I feel like he stole most of my answer. But I guess that speaks to just Chris is just a consistent director, and it feels I felt it kind of across the board too. Just showing up as the new kid on the block towards the end of the film is not the easiest thing to do, and it's Chris Nolan and you're nervous. I luckily had my buddy Matt Damon who I could ask questions and he could explain the camera to me. So by the time that I walked onto the set, I felt like I had a little bit of knowledge. But the thing that I found endearing and not shocking, but I wasn't expecting to see it on the scale, was just how intimate Chris makes his set. It feels like you're shooting an independent film. And there's something about that I guess I wasn't expecting, because when I look at his movies, they're just so grand and scale. And, but there was one moment that I'll never forget when Matt and I were walking in the water. It was just the two of us, because the small crew had kind of like escaped, like without really noticing. And the tide was coming up and the sun was setting. And all of a sudden a helicopter just appeared in the sky and they were shooting us. And Matt was just like, just walk, just walk. It was like Matt knew exactly what to do. But it was just so organized and the timing of it was just so precise. And it's a real gift, and I felt fortunate to see filmmaking at that level, to see how you have to be disciplined in trying to make these films that he does.
얼마나 멋진 현장이었는지가 말씀을 들으니까 느껴집니다. 네, 이번에는 이제 중앙 쪽에 마이크를 전달하도록 하겠습니다. 네, 마이크 받으셨나요?
네, 안녕하세요. YTN 스타 김성현 기자입니다. 영화 정말 재밌게 봤고 앞으로 한국에 더 자주 와주셨으면 하는 바람을 좀 전해봅니다. 감독님과 엠마 프로듀서께 공통으로 질문 드리고 싶습니다. 영화를 소비하는 방식이 다양해진 시대에도 감독님께서는 극장이 줄 수 있는 경험과 가치에 대해서 꾸준히 말씀해 오셨는데요. 한국 관객들에게 여전히 극장에서 영화를 보는 것이 왜 중요한지 설명해 주셨으면 좋겠고, 특히나 오디세이를 극장에서 경험해야 하는 이유에 대해서 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
네.
First of all, I really enjoyed the film, so thank you so much. And my just one message to you is please come to Korea more often. And my question goes for you, Chris, and for you, Emma. So people consume films in varied ways these days. And Director Nolan, you've constantly spoken about the unique experience only cinema can provide. So could you tell the Korean audiences why it's important that we go to the movie theater to watch films, and in particular, why we should do that for The Odyssey?
Yeah, well, thank you first. The thing that cinema offers you is an experience of sharing a story with an audience, even as you're seeing a subjective sort of first-person point of view that the camera gives you. It's a very, very unique combination of the kind of psychological insight or point of view that you can get from a novel, for example, but the shared experience of a theatrical experience with that empathetic response that the whole audience has. So you're seeing something that's very personal to you and very individual, and the camera is taking you and showing you precise things to you and your unique perspective. You're sharing that with a lot of other people. That's what the medium of cinema has that no other medium has. Novels don't have it. Television doesn't have it. Theatrical plays don't have it. So it's a different and unique medium, and that's really the value of it. And people then will see your film after its theatrical presentation in many other forms, and that's fine, and that's great. It's wonderful that our work gets seen very widely like that. But for that initial birth into the world, for that process that identifies creatively what it is that you've made, there's really nothing quite like the theatrical experience for that. And in particular, I think with a story like The Odyssey, we're really trying in the way we've made the film to bring the audience on Odysseus' journey. So we want the audience to feel that they're on the deck of the ship with him, and that they're climbing mountains with him or going to the Cyclops cave with him. And a theatrical experience where you're sharing that with other people and you're seeing it on a larger than life screen. That's a really great way to experience that.
그 시네마틱 여정에 탑승을 하고 싶다는 생각이 너무나 듭니다. 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요. 스포츠 서울 서지원 기자입니다.
반갑습니다. 네.
저는 우선 두 배우분께 질문 드리겠는데요. 촬영하시는 동안 감독님께서 한 번도 퍼펙트란 칭찬을 안 해주셨다고 들었는데 감독님께 혹시 듣고 싶은 칭찬이 있으셨는지 궁금하고요. 감독님께는 현장에서 못하신 칭찬이 있다면 오늘 이 자리에서 같이 해주시면 감사할 것 같고요. 또 맷 데이먼 배우님께 덧붙여서 이번 작품 촬영하시는 동안 좀 7편을 동시에 촬영하는 것 같았다고 하셨는데 앞으로 감독님이 또 러브콜을 보내신다면 응하실 의향이 있으신지도 궁금합니다.
너무 재밌는 질문을 해주셨는데요. 네.
I have these questions for the cast. I'd love to ask you, Matt and Charlize. You have recently shared with the world that you never got to hear perfect from Christopher Nolan. Was that something that you really wanted to hear from him? And, so we'd love to hear your thoughts on that. To Chris, we want to ask you, would you like to say a few encouraging words to them? Albeit slightly a little late. And I'd love to ask you, Matt, once again, you've shared that it felt like shooting 7 films at once when you were working on The Odyssey. Will you still say yes if Chris calls you up again and says, we need to do it one more time?
I don't know where to begin. I've never received a perfect from this director, but I like to think we have a shorthand. I'm a very optimistic person, no, I think we joke about that because Zendaya received one in our presence, and it was Tom Holland and I who witnessed this, and we couldn't get over it. But in terms of yes, this was like shooting 7 movies in the sense that each location was incredibly challenging and another chapter in this longer story. So each one felt like its own film. Because whatever skill you'd mastered to conquer the previous location wasn't applicable to the new one. And so we had to adjust and adjust altogether. In terms of working with Chris, obviously, yes, saying yes as an actor that you'll work with Christopher Nolan, that distinguishes me from precisely 0 other actors on planet Earth. Everybody wants to work with Chris. It's a great job to have.
12편을 찍는 것 같은 영화라도 괜찮은지 한번
Would it still be okay if it was for a film that feels like you're shooting 12 movies at once?
Yeah, as many as he's got. I'm ready. But in an odd way, it's actually not up to either of us if we work together again. It's a funny thing. It's kind of up to the story gods, and neither of us are actually in control of that.
우리 샤를리즈도 듣고 싶은 칭찬이 있으셨는지?
And Charlize, could you tell us a little bit, what would you like to have heard from Chris?
This was a purely a Matt Damon issue. I had no qualms. I was very happy with the direction that I got. I wouldn't want it any other way. I wasn't even paying attention to the lack of the word perfection. But, Matt has some things that he needs to work out. And I wish him well in that. I had a great experience, and my phone number is still the same, Chris, if you want to call me up for the next one. But yeah, no, it was lovely.
이렇게 선이 그어지는데요. 자, 그렇다면 우리 놀란 감독님 못다한 칭찬 다 해주시죠.
And to wrap the question off, Chris, would you like to pour as many compliments to the cast as much as possible?
Well, that was a perfect answer from Charlize. And Matt was not terrible. Which for an Englishman, that's a very, very high compliment. Very high compliment.
If I can get a not terrible, that's good enough for me.
정말 오늘 칭찬이 오가는 기자간담회입니다. 자, 그렇다면 다음 질문 해주실 기자님, 네, 중앙, 여기 지금 3번째 줄인가요? 네.
샤를리즈 테론님께 질문이 있는데요. 바다의 여신 칼립소를 연기를 하셨는데 좀 어떤 인물로 스스로 좀 해석을 하셨는지 너무 궁금하고 그 감정을 전달하기 위해서 좀 중요하게 여긴 부분이 있다면 어떤 부분이 있는지 말씀 부탁드립니다.
First of all, I really enjoyed the film, so thank you. And my question is for you, Charlize. So in playing this character, a figure from ancient mythology, Calypso, how did you interpret her? And what were some of the most important things in bringing this character to life?
You know, I really had to just follow the script. I think Chris wrote a script that was very specific in letting us actors know what he was looking for and what he needed from us. And so for me, it was kind of eye-opening. What I knew of Calypso was very one-dimensional, I'm ashamed to say. And the Calypso that Chris was interested in exploring was, to me, felt very human, with very human conflicted notions and emotions, and something that was just very grounded. And practical, like, you know, even from what she's wearing and how she's a survivalist and her dress is a fishnet, like all of these things to me felt like really exciting things to build a character that I think in a way where people have not thought of her like this or seen her like this. And I think anytime you can do something that feels a little bit not regurgitated and you can kind of shake it up and turn it on its head a little bit, that's always exciting for an actor. And also, I don't get a lot of opportunities to play characters like that. And so it was really nice to have that opportunity and to have Chris kind of believe that I could bring something to that. But as far as, you know, how you go about it, you have to just be open and listen. And I had that in the script, and I had that in Chris as a director. I struggled with Matt, but the other things were good.
네, 오늘 계속 선이 두꺼워지는 느낌인데요. 자, 이제 다음 질문을 받도록 하겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요. IMBC의 김종훈 기자라고 합니다.
반갑습니다.
네, 오늘 그 프로듀서님한테 질문이 많이 안 간 것 같아서 질문 하나 드리려고 하는데요. 이제 놀란 감독님과 거의 30년 넘게 함께하고 계신데 지금까지 여러 놀라운 경험들을 많이 했을 것 같거든요. 좀 프로듀서님에게 좀 지난 30년간 가장 놀라운 경험이나 장면이 있다면 어떤 것인지 공유 한번 해주시면 감사하겠습니다.
I have a question for producer Emma. I'd love to ask you. So you and Chris have been on this wonderful partnership, I believe, for over 30 years now, and I'm sure there were a lot of moments of surprise. Could you share with us something that really shocked you or surprised you on this film?
Oh my goodness. That's a really tough one. I think really just, well, it wasn't really a surprise because I kind of know at this point what Chris is going for when he picks a project. But I think really just the scale of the movie, you know, and again, it wasn't really a surprise. I feel bad even saying this one, but you know, I think that once we had finished Oppenheimer and the film had done so incredibly well, I think probably the moment where I turned to Chris and said, well, what's the next one going to be? You know, that's always the the first moment of surprise. But as I said, like, you know, the thing that I think is really amazing about Chris is that he's always looking to do something new, and he's always looking to capitalize on the leverage that he has. He's always looking to take the opportunities that he has and make the most of them. And so the Odyssey really, whilst it was surprising in one sense, it was also in another sense not that surprising that he wanted to take this opportunity that he had and really do something very special. And I, you know, he didn't just want to make the this enormous story. He wanted to do it in the most incredibly expansive and extreme way.
진짜 최고의 퍼펙트한 감독님과 프로듀서의 관계인 것 같은데 이 대답에 대해서 감독님은 어떻게 생각하시는지 궁금해요.
It just feels like such an ideal director and producer partnership, and we'd love to hear from you, Chris. How do you feel about this wonderful partnership?
I mean, Emma and I have worked together on everything, and it's incredible to have a partner that you have that level of communication with. Emma has no ego in the way she looks at things. There's no agenda. She's really just looking at the project from a purely creative point of view and then a purely practical point of view. and having somebody at the very earliest stages to be able to share my intentions for the project before I've even written the script is enormously important to every project we've ever made, but in particular this one that had to be so expansive and so complicated, to be able to start those conversations even before I'd written the script. That's a very great privilege, and it's a really important part of how we work together.
Can I just add one thing? I have something that did surprise me. So this film was, you know, as you can probably imagine from having watched it, was incredibly arduous to make. It was a very, very long and, you know, people really had to dig deep in order to bring everything to this project. We were traveling a lot, working in very difficult conditions. And I think that the thing that really surprised me actually was that when we wrapped the film at the very end, we were all ready to be done. And Matt was there on that last day. And I remember very distinctly, Chris called cut, the film was over. We had a glass of champagne by the camera, as we usually do at the end of a film, and nobody wanted to leave. Like, nobody wanted to leave. It was almost like everyone was bonded by trauma, and they wanted to stay. And that surprised me, because I thought that by the end we were all just going to be like, let's go.
Yeah, it was midnight, and we stayed for hours, just standing out there. Yeah.
Exactly. It was really a wonderful and special moment, and quite surprising.
얼마나 그곳이 좋았으면, 그죠? 그 여정에 정말 함께할 준비가 저희도 끝났습니다. 여러분 죄송하지만 시간 관계상 이제 마지막 질문을 받아야 될 것 같은데요.
네, 안녕하세요. 전 맥스모비 김보라 기자입니다. 저는 네 분께 질문 드리겠는데요. 그 오디세이는 결국 이제 집으로 돌아가는 이야기인데 그 안에서 인간의 나약함과 어떤 선택이 낳은 결과의 파장들이 되게 와닿았습니다. 그래서 이제 네 분께서는 영화를 만들면서 주고 싶었던 메시지와 또 영화를 본 한국 관객들이 어떤 질문을 품고 돌아가길 기대하는지 궁금합니다.
This question is for all four of you. So the story of the Odyssey, I mean, obviously it is a homecoming story. We get to see the vulnerability of a man, you know, who is really struggling with these consequences. And I feel like this is very resonant with everyone. I would love to ask the four of you if there is a message that you would like for people to take away with them after watching the film, what would that be? Maybe in particular with the Korean audiences in mind, how would you like for them to feel or maybe ask themselves as they leave the theater having watched the Odyssey? Chris, would you like to start?
I mean, for me, I think movies work best when you let the audience come to them and decide what the film is about and experience it. So in a way, my answer to what's the message of the film is the experience of the film itself. What I'm really hoping Korean audiences will get from it, and presumably a lot of people will be very unfamiliar with the story, but we've made the film for people who know nothing about Homer's Odyssey. I really want them to have a sense of adventure and entertainment and emotional engagement with it. So more than anything, I just want them to have a great time at the movies.
맥 데이먼 같은 경우는 유독 영화에서 집에 못 돌아가세요. 정말 집으로 가기 위해서 사투를 많이 벌이시는데 이번엔 진짜 꼭 돌아가셨으면 좋겠다고 한국 관객들도 기대를 하고 응원하고 있습니다.
And Matt, I mean, we really want you to find home in a lot of your films. You always seem to have the most difficult time returning home, so we hope we get to see you do that in the Odyssey. How would you like to answer that question for the Korean audiences?
Well, I agree with Chris. This is the most exciting and scary moment for us, which is to give the film to you, and discover what you have to say about it. And the discussions are always so interesting. And much like the original poem, depending on where you are in your life, it resonates in different ways for you. And I think the film is very rich thematically, and so hopefully it will resonate in different ways with the audience. So we're excited to hear in what ways it does that, and listen to what you have to say.
샤를리즈 테런?
I couldn't agree more with Chris and Matt. I feel the greatest part about going to the movies is that you're going to have your own experience, an individual experience. And when you leave, hopefully it starts conversation. And that's how I enjoy movies. That's how I've stopped watching trailers, actually, because I just miss that experience of sitting in a theater and the lights going out and just being taken on this journey. So yeah, it's hard to say like what I hope people will feel, except I hope they'll be really entertained, and I hope they will have a really great experience. And I hope that it will have great conversation afterwards. It's been interesting as we've been traveling to hear people have their own opinion about who they think Calypso is. And to some, she's more villainous, and to some, she's more of a tragic hero. And it's so interesting to see how people are being affected by these characters in this story in a different way. So it is, like Matt said, it's nerve-wracking, but also very exciting to have you all see it and get to experience it, and then to hear what you guys think of it.
Emma Thomas?
Well, I think they've all said it so perfectly, but yeah, I mean, to me, I'm hoping that people will sort of enjoy the movie as a movie. I've very much enjoyed seeing the conversations that have been sort of elicited around the world amongst audiences about the themes of the movie, but so much more. And for me, as I said earlier on, to me, movies and watching movies, it's about connection with people. It's about a sort of a connected and community experience. And I love that the whole world is getting to watch this movie and feel that. And I think that I know that we don't like to talk about what messages that there are in the movie, but I do feel that there's something about the story of the movie that is about connection and about the impact that we have on each other, whether that be thousands of years ago or today. So that, for me, is the important piece.
네. 감사합니다. 자, 오늘 정말 좋은 질문 해주신, 다양한 질문 해주신 기자님들께 진심으로 감사의 말씀 드리고요. 아쉽지만 이제 내한 기자간담회 마지막 인사를 부탁드려야 될 것 같습니다.
All right, so thank you all, first of all, for your wonderful questions. Due to time constraints, we are going to have to let everyone go. But before we do, I know, Emma, you just spoke, but can we start with you and say your final comments to the Korean press and also fans waiting?
Thank you so much for welcoming us and for asking us such thoughtful questions. We could not be happier to be here in Korea presenting our movie, and I wish we could stay longer.
That's literally what I was just thinking. It would be so nice to have like another 2 weeks here, but it's been a few days that feel like a lot more than just a few days, and that's because of the hospitality that you guys have given us, and being so hospitable and just really embracing us from the moment that we got here. And so thank you for that, and we're very excited to share this film with you.
Yes, thank you. It is wonderful to be back. Thank you for this incredible reception, and I couldn't be happier to be here with this film, and I cannot wait to hear what everybody thinks about it in Korea. This is an amazing cinema-going culture. It's a very important one, and I'm excited to see what you think of The Odyssey. Thank you for having us.
The film opens here on Wednesday, so for us it's very exciting to be here just on the eve of it opening, and to have all of you here asking such interesting questions and showing such an amazing welcome and respect for us and for the work we brought here. Is really thrilling. So we're very grateful. Thank you.
감사합니다. 자, 개봉이 너무나 기다려지는 영화 오디세이. 아쉽지만 네 분은 이제 보내드려야 될 것 같습니다.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to let you go now.
네 분 퇴장하셔도 좋습니다.
Thank you all very much.
네, thank you. 감사합니다. 네. 자, 오셨던 곳으로. 감사합니다. 네. 자, 오늘 이야기를 나누면서 더욱더 궁금해지는 오디세이 8월 5일 한국 개봉을 앞두고 있습니다.